December 2nd, 2021 Stormwater Committee into order. Welcome. We appreciate everybody coming out today. We've got a few items of business we need to take care of before we deal with our standard agenda of variances, so actually be patient with us as we deal with that. Okay, so our first item of business is to review our meeting minutes and decision letters from our October 7th meeting. So everybody, all the committee members should have a copy of the minutes and decision letters on these little electronic readers, which saves the taxpayer money having to print this out for us every meeting. So minus the initial investment of these electronic tablets. So I want to just encourage everybody just to take a minute to read over the minutes and decision letters. Make sure we don't have any edits or corrections. I think we have one edit to all the decision letters regarding approved mitigation that we'd like to add. And but other than that, I'll entertain a motion for someone to offer any other edits or amendments they may have. And then after we do that, we'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes and decision letters all in one motion if that's acceptable. So Logan, you want to read the statement that we want to add?
Yes. The sentence that needs to be added is, the owner shall maintain a minimum of 75% survivability of plantings through 2 full growing seasons.
So that is on your screen, thanks to the very capable IT skills of Mr. Hunt.
Chair, I make a motion to approve the October 7th meeting minutes and approval letters with the addition of the mitigation sentence that Mr. Bowman just shared.
All right, we have a motion. Is there a second? All right, we have a motion and a second by Mr. Lewis. Any other discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? All right, motion carries. Okay, just want to encourage everyone to be mindful of the delicate nature of these microphones. When you push the button, it'll light up red on your mic. Only push it once or it'll go haywire and we'll have to recess and fix it. So, okay. All right, that's our first item of business. Our second item of business was to introduce a new board member, but she'll be here in a few minutes, I think. And so our next item of business is to elect a vice chair of the committee. So our previous vice chair, if you remember, left for maternity leave and then has not rejoined us in another term. And so that leaves our temporary vice chair in the position of potentially being available to be permanent. And so anyone want to offer a motion to nominate a temporary vice chair into a permanent position? If she's willing, please feel free to do that.
Is she willing? That's it.
Okay. that'll make legal. And you can tell we haven't debated this outside of a public hearing, so which is what we're supposed to do, right? All right.
I'll make the motion to nominate our temporary vice president to a permanent position.
All right. So that person would be Ms. Carrie Stokes. All right. So we have a motion. Is there a second?
A well-deserved second.
All right. Now, well-deserved second. All right, so we have a motion properly second. Any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, at your own detriment. All right, not seeing none.
Congratulations.
All right, motion passes. Thank you, Ms. Stokes, for being willing to serve. Okay, so we'll want to ask our first applicant, Airport Hotel at 840 Royal Parkway, to come up. This is case 2021-00015. Basically, what we're going to do is have staff read an opening statement, advise you of your legal rights as a result of the hearing today. And then we'll open it up for a public hearing for those to speak for and against in regard to your proposals. We'll give you a chance for rebuttal as applicants if you'd like to take that. And then we'll close the public hearing if we don't have any emails to read or phone calls to read that have been recorded to read from. Hey, Dr. Camp. And then we'll proceed with the committee deliberation. So does that make sense? Okay. All right, staff. Logan.
Opening statements to the applicant. If you are not satisfied with the decision made by the Stormwater Management Committee, you may appeal the decision by filing for a writ of certiorari with the Davidson County Chancery or Circuit Court. Your appeal must be filed within 60 days of the date of the committee's decision. You are advised to seek the independent advice of legal counsel to ensure that your appeal is filed in a timely manner and that all procedural requirements have been satisfied. The first case on the agenda is case number 2021-00015, Airport Hotel at 840 Royal Parkway. APN is 108-020-11400. Inspector is Donald Irves. Council District 15, Jeff Syracuse. Applicant's request, compensating cut below the 2-year flood elevation. Appellant is Pinnacle Nashville Airport, represented by Eric Parle, Reagan Smith and Associates. Comments. Stormwater staff. Staff requests that if mitigation is approved, the applicant vary the tree species so that no more than one species comprises more than 20% of the total. Codes had no comment provided. Planning. This property is within a planned unit development overlay district and will require a final site plan application to determine that this land use and site plan is consistent with the approved preliminary PUD plan, or the property will need to be rezoned to remove the PUD. Greenways had no comment provided.
All right, so we'll give you all 10 minutes to present, and if it turns out you need more time, we'll evaluate that at that time. I'll start a clock. If you get close to time, I'll kind of give you a 2-minute and a 1-minute signal, and we'll go from there. So, welcome.
All right. Morning, I'm Matt Lackey, Reagan Smith. This is Eric Parle, also with Reagan Smith. I think, Logan, I'm supposed to address the comments from planning to read in, so I'll do that first. We did submit this to planning for initial PUD review, and we did get an email from Logan Elliott on December 17th of 2020 that stated that basically that this hotel use is within, on a preliminary review. We haven't gone through a full PUD application, but it gave for preliminary not approval, but it looks like, let me just read verbatim. The hotel land use is likely supported by the land use policy, and that the site plan should be sensitive to the guidance provided by the T3 CC policy and conservation policy, recognizing the floodplain, floodway, and other stream buffers on the site. So we did get that early support from them on that. We also got support that the height would be supported in that we have, through BNA, we're allowed to go up to a maximum 150 feet, and we're only going up 6 stories, so we should be fine in that regard. So I know the packet was pretty overwhelming with the amount of information in there, so to boil it down to as simple as possible, we're here to seek a variance for obtaining approximately 461 cubic yards of compensating cut below the 2-year elevation. And the reason we have this hardship is that the 2-year elevation and the 100-year elevation are extremely close, approximately 1 foot separation. And that's due primarily to just the slope of the stream in that area. So we have the hardship in regards of, we've looked at 4 or 5 different site plans, and we just can't get to a point that we can get the compensation entirely above the 2-year. As part of the mitigation, we're providing, approximately 4 times the total compensating cut for mitigation. So we are providing, substantially more than code required. It's just that we're needing to go below the 2-year. So essentially, that's the summary of all of that big packet we have, and I would like to reserve my time to address questions.
All right, thank you. At this time, we want to open a public hearing for those to speak in favor or against the current proposal. So if you want to do that, we'll just ask you to come up to the big shielded podium up there with a mic and press the button, give us your name and address, and let you state your case. Is there anyone here to speak in favor or against the current proposal? All right. Seeing none, do we have any emails, letters, phone calls that we need to read into the record or make the committee aware of?
There were no emails, letters, phone calls on this case.
All right, thank you. All right. Given that, we'll close the public hearing at this time, and we'll open up for committee questions. So you're operating within the 2-year, so that implies that you're working pretty low in the landscape. Can staff give us a little bit of clarification about their sense of the site, just kind of help us evaluate specifically what's unique about this site?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. So as the applicant was saying, the 100-year and the 2-year elevations are very close to each other. Our regulations state that they must compensate below the 100 and above the 2. And if they're going to use any volume below the 2, that's not included within the calculations. In this particular case, I'm looking at the cross sections, and for the most part, the 100-year we'll just say is a 452.4 in a certain cross section, and the 2-year is 451.2. So in order to make all their cut and fill work between the two elevations, I mean, you're looking at just about a foot, which is pretty hard. So what they're proposing is they're proposing to use the volume below the 2 and still balance the site, but requesting that the area below the 2 will count towards their compensation.
And just so that everybody that may not have a technical background or an ecological background in this is probably a headwater area. That's why the 100-year and the 2-year are so close together. It's way up in the drainage pattern. Can you give us a practical explanation for why this unique circumstance exists? How much drainage exists above this site, for example? How many acres?
I can tell you that this is over a square mile. So
It is that large, okay.
So most
it's
of our
fairly
basins,
flat then.
Right.
Okay.
So this is over a square mile, and there is a floodway over here as well.
Okay,
They're not asking for any buffer requests. Everything is just for the cut and fill.
just for the cut and fill.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So does everybody understand what we're dealing with now? All right. Okay. Do we have any photographs of the site, ground level? No, we just had a satellite photograph up a minute or two ago. Do we have any flood imagery associated with this site, Michael, too, as well? That might help us.
Not that I'm aware of.
Chairman, even though it's over a square mile, this is still a flashy type area. So when we did the May flood flyovers, all the water would have went up and recessed back down before the imagery was done.
Pretty quickly, okay. All right. Everybody got the information they need? So what do you think?
Can you speak to staff's comments about the request for the mitigation? I think it was the planting, varying the species. Is that something you're willing to?
We had no objections to that. We provided additional plantings, even though the buffer, it wasn't a disturbance. We just thought that was a good thing to do, and we have no objection to varying the species.
I will say somewhat hesitantly that You know, this is a site with a lot of commercial and public infrastructure around it. That does put it in a little bit different context.
Is there anything additionally that you could do to mitigate the flash flooding situation beyond what you're already proposing with the stormwater management?
To mitigate I'm sorry, I missed the last part.
Since it's a flashy area and then not highly commercialized.
Well, I think the fact that, we're providing, the compensation is one-to-one requirement. Obviously, they want it above the 2-year, but providing almost 4 times the volume, which would be there today. So with this plan, we're providing almost 4 times the storage volume of what's there today. So the development would be an improvement hydraulically over what's there today. So in terms of the public infrastructure and commercial area around there, this plan would be an improvement over existing conditions.
Yeah. To build on that, can we go back to the site plan that shows essentially this pond? You're building up the site and you're going to have a 10-foot, 13-foot retaining wall that drops down into top right portion of the site into your 4 times the capacity of what's required. Pond, essentially. Is that am I interpreting this correctly? I'm looking at these elevations and I'm seeing a gigantic.
I think that's the erosion control. Can we get to the grading? Maybe one sheet up. One more.
Your parking lot's at 464.
Mm-hmm.
Your pond is at 449.
Actually, there's an existing detention pond that is just north, and that's what's shown in the aerial. It's already there, right there.
Yes.
So, yeah.
I'm talking about on the right side of the parking lot.
Yeah, that's not necessarily a pond. That's just a lower grade. That would be your floodplain.
Okay, I saw it berming up to the right. It goes up to 449. On the right, near cross-section 3, right there, to the right of your cursor. Cross-section
Yeah,
5,
so we did do, right there, we did a few variations. So we did a maximum with the retaining wall as high as 20 feet.
Yeah.
And we graded it back 2% all the way, and we still couldn't get there with that. So in that regard, we tried to save a couple of, I don't know if they're necessarily heritage trees, but they're pretty nice trees that we amended the grading to protect those trees because we weren't going to get there anyway. Mm-hmm. So that's what that little swoop there you see there is.
Yeah.
So we went after that. We went after even another option of avoiding a variance and with staff, but that it was a technical issue that there wasn't a precedent for that, and that was counting the void ratios in the stone underneath the pavement behind the retaining wall. If you were allowed to count that, we wouldn't need a variance, but there is understandable concern about sediment buildup and whatnot. So staff didn't feel like they could support that. We did, we shrank the footprint. We went up another story, to minimize the footprint of the development. And I will say that I don't know if it's relevant to this, but this is mimicking the footprint of a grading plan that was approved in 2010 for this site. That was part of the original PUD for this development. So the expanse of it's no larger, the grading's no different significantly from what was approved in 2010 as a grading permit.
Okay, thank you.
Does staff have any opinion about, the stability of this site long-term? since they are working within the 2-year, I mean, it's going to be, the disturbance is within the most frequently flooded zone of the floodplain,
During the
which
normal
coincidentally
process-
is also close to the 100-year, but
Sure.
that's beside the point because it's got a half-mile drainage area, so,
During the normal process of the grading permit review, we will ensure that there's adequate stabilization to withhold the velocities.
okay. But after it's established, I mean, it's a pretty significant alteration to the natural hydrogeomorphology of the site.
I'm not sure if I'm going to put them on the spot. I think
I think that's okay here. I think that's okay here. We do it all the time.
I was just going to say, post-construction stabilization may
Yeah.
come down to MPDS to maybe not throwing them under the, I was going to maybe defer to Michael to see if he had any thoughts on that.
Well, and I would just say, keep in mind that even if it is just a 2-year, it's not the floodway that has the velocities. So the engineer, the plan review section will be making sure that what's post-construction will be adequate. We also have SEM inspectors that take over review of the site, the pond, the area that would note any of those type of issues that come up over time.
Okay, so it's not like other situations where we've dealt with this type of cut in a 2-year. Okay, all right, that's just what I want to try to make sure everybody understood, because in the past, we've been hesitant about allowing this type of cut in a 2-year zone. So I did want to say one thing about your reference to hardship, and I always feel obligated to mention this, and I kind of wear it out. Can anybody tell me if this type of unique situation in the topography is unique in the county, or is this common across the county?
Chairman, it's going to vary from stream to stream. Even on the Cumberland River, you'll have one section that's a pretty tall embankment where you may have the 2-year and the 100-year almost perfectly aligning.
Okay.
And then on the other side of the Cumberland River, you could have a vast stretch of floodway and a varied elevation. So I would say this request that they're asking is a relatively unique request, as it doesn't come before the committee that often. In this particular case, the 2-year and the 100-year is very, very close.
Okay. The reason I say that is that we had a state appellate court decision that very specifically defined hardships. And in this context, not in the average person's context, red lights are hardships to me when I'm in a hurry, right? So in this context, the only hardship that we're allowed to consider is a hydrogeomorphic anomaly on the landscape that these ordinances could not have foreseen being regulated. Therefore, you would have a hardship because your particular site is so unique in Davidson County that the ordinance just didn't really adequately anticipate that unique condition. Evidently, that's not the case here. So we can't grant it on a hardship, but we might grant it with mitigation. You see where I'm going? Okay. All right. Got the legal nod there. That's always relief.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to introduce a motion to approve the applicant's request based on this staff recommendation to vary the plantings in the mitigation areas. Were there any other pieces that staff had requested that I missed? Sorry. No? Okay.
Perfect. Everybody understand the motion?
Yep. That's my motion.
All right. We have a motion.
A second.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Thanks for the hard work. Thanks for listening to staff, for working with them. Appreciate it. Okay. Our next case is Kingsley Park, 2021-00016. If y'all will come forward up to the mic. We're going to go through the same process. I assume, did you hear the legal statement concerning your legal rights earlier? Okay, great. All right, so we're going to go through the same process. Staff's going to read an overview. We'll open up the public hearing, close it for committee discussion. And then, of course, we'll give you 10 minutes for your presentation after staff introduces it.
Case number 2021-00016, Kingsley Park, is a preliminary application. The address is 5047 John Hager Road. APN is 098-0000-9900. The inspector is Donald Irves. Council District 12, Aaron Evans is the councilwoman. Applicant's request is disturbance of the wetlands and associated buffers to build a connector road. The appellant is Roy Hager. Representative Adam Seeger with Doyle and Associates. Comments, Stormwater staff requests that the plan return to the configuration from the pre-application meeting that does not cross a wetland with a proposed road A. Staff also requests the removal of lots 12, 14, and 16 from the pre-application plan. Codes did not provide a comment. Planning, this plan will require the concept plan 2021S-220-001 and subsequent final site plan and final plat applications to be reviewed and approved. Concept plan 2021S-220-001 is currently under review and will require MPC consideration. Greenways, no comment provided.
All right, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. All right, so we'll give you 10 minutes to present. I'll give you a 2-minute and 1-minute signal if it gets to that point. Just one time, please. There you go.
Am I on? There we go. All right. Thank you all. My name's Adam Sager. I'm with Doyle and Associates, and we are the applicant. This property we've been looking at for several months. It goes a ways back, and it's been considered for variations on how to lay it out with the subdivision. It's going to be a single-family subdivision. And we were surprised to find out that how unique this property was, because we're in the upper reaches of the basin, and yet we've got a pretty good amount of wetlands relative to this property on there. And so our challenge has always been to avoid the wetlands as best as possible. And we've been working with planning. We've been working with the community in the past. And I want to kind of clarify and make sure that we convey that what we're requesting is a preliminary request, because we're in a concept plan approval or a concept plan process with planning. And so in the concept plan, we're still going through, hey, what is this site exactly going to become? And we also wanted to present this to you in a preliminary manner so that we could get feedback as we kind of put the plan together and put it in its final format. So we knew that we were going to have to really carefully consider the wetlands and the layout, and so we went ahead and surveyed the property. BDY is the environmental engineer, and they have gone out and delineated all the wetlands, so now we have an exact representation of exactly where these wetlands are, what they look like, and where the buffers are, and that's all mapped out on here. In coordination with planning, it became evident that for safety reasons, for fire and police and ambulance safety, we have to provide connectivity to our neighboring properties. And therefore, there's a certain standard we have to meet with providing connector roads. If you look at the property, on the left side or the west side, we're connecting to John Hager Road. On the south side, which is Megan Court, that is Megan or Megan, that's on the bottom. That's an existing road that stubs out to us, so we have to tie into there. And then we've been requested that we have to tie into the bottom right, or that would be the southeast side of the property, and then provide also a future stub out to the northeast side of the property. And so when you look at our plan, you're going to see proposed road C that heads north and south over on the right hand of the project. This is to provide connectivity. So we laid it out many different ways. We bumped into the wetlands quite a bit, and most recently we have presented this layout that you see on your screen, and this is what we applied for. So we applied to come off of John Hager. It's going to clip the wetlands right there where you see in blue. And then we're on to the site. We avoid all streams and wetlands until we get to that back property or the back connector north-south road. And then you have another wetland back there that we're impacting. We submitted this and staff made the comment about impacting the first wetland over on the western side, the first one coming off of John Hager. And so we kind of went back and, started wiggling this site again. And we were able to, I just want to let everybody know, we are able now to avoid that wetland. We've heard staff's comments, and we have since adjusted the layout. And Logan, I don't know if that's something that you can put up on the screen. I know we sent a layout in, but there is, we shifted that road a little bit to the northeast, so now we're not impacting that wetland anymore as well. So we're not really needing that impact. I've got, finally, on the eastern side, the wetland that we are impacting. And I've got several copies if you want me to hand these out. And it just has to do with the quality of wetlands, and I think it's pertinent to the story of it, if that's okay. It's a letter that we had Chris over at BDY draft up this past week, just so that it kind of helps paint the picture of the quality of the wetlands that we're dealing with. And in that letter, you'll see that the wetland over on the right side, and it's not shown on the plan. This is the plan that we just redid. It's kind of hard to see on the screen with the buffers, but we avoided all wetlands other than the one over on the right side. And the one over on the right side, or the eastern part of the property, would be classified, and this is quoting the letter, would be classified as a low resource value wetland based on the lack of consistent hydrologic inputs, previous disturbance, and vegetation composition. Going on past that, there did not appear to be an obvious source of natural hydrology for the wetland. However, it did appear that discharge from a bioretention feature on the adjacent property serves as a supplemental hydrology source. So to provide that in context, just to the right of us is Ruby Major Elementary School. I believe that was constructed sometime in the last 20 years. I don't know exactly when. You can see it on the screen there. That's the high point. We don't have a whole lot of drainage area going to this wetland. And there's a bioretention pond that they installed, and that drains down and goes into this wetland. We believe that's where the hydrology source is. And if you look in the packet, there's some pictures of it, and it doesn't look like a wetland. It looks like a woods, a big flat area in the woods. And after we gave it all consideration, this is definitely low resource value, and therefore we decided that this is the area that we are going to take to cross this road, that we have to provide a road somewhere through here. So we've analyzed the site, poured over it, and we said we're going to take the least impacted, lowest resource value, and we've got to go through there. And furthermore, on the higher quality wetlands, which are over on the western part that kind of go north-south through there, we're not touching any of those. And furthermore, in the letter, Chris writes that the other wetlands would be classified as emergent wetlands, and these all possessed obvious groundwater connections, and many of them comprise portions of riparian corridors. Portions of these emergent wetlands have been degraded due to historic land uses and present an opportunity for enhancement activities. So as we come before you and we understand that wetlands are important, we are going to mitigate the impact that we have over on the very low quality and supplement that by providing additional plantings and mitigation along the high quality wetlands and not touch those. And so that is the request. I believe that the variance that we requested included both areas, so I'll leave it up to the board or staff to amend it if you want to, because we're not really needing that wetland impact over on the left side anymore. We've found a way to get the road through there. But we would appreciate a recommendation of approval for the wetland over on the right so we can get the connector road through there and then process this through planning. And then because we're having a preliminary request, my understanding is that we would have to come back again and finalize it all up. And so that's why we're here, to get your input, present it, let you all know the context and of what's going on. And with that, I think I think that's the presentation. So we'll hear public comments, and I'm here for questions.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Appreciate that. All right, so at this time, we'll open it up for public comment. If you're here to speak in favor or against the project, if you'll come up to the thoroughly plexiglass podium up there with the microphone, just state your name and address, state whether you're for or against, and then you'll have 2 minutes to describe your reasons.
Hey, good morning. Thank you very much for allowing us to speak today. My name is Erin Evans. I'm the District 12 Council member, and I'm here this morning primarily because the residents that are here represent a portion of the folks who contacted me after the signs went up. And I will say, kind of to backtrack, I don't think that the notification period, whatever it is for stormwater, is probably long enough. Because when the letters start to be received, I got more calls, but anyway, I'll just put that as a side note to look at later. So related to the variance request, I will say, hearing from Mr. Sager and some of the changes that they're making and the idea that this is a concept plan and would potentially have to come back to you, does make me feel a lot better. So that is a positive of coming this morning. And I think the biggest question that I had received from residents really relates to, first of all, why is a variance needed? Because anytime any resident hears variance, to them it says, hey, we have a standard. Why are we allowing anybody to deviate outside of that standard? And this particular property, Mr. Sager and the team have been really good about coming out prior to this project being filed and hearing from residents about the stormwater concerns. And that's one of the things that you're going to hear from people today is the existing stormwater concerns for the surrounding properties, and when a wetland is disturbed, what potentially could be the impact for the surrounding residents. And so you're going to hear that this morning, and probably have that in maybe some of the letter communication that you've received as well. So ultimately, as I have told Dr. Camp when she was appointed, I'm not an engineer, I'm in marketing. And so ultimately I have to rely on the expertise of the people that are here, in the room making these decisions. But also, of course, bring forward the concerns of the community and think through, like, how can we better explain some of this information to residents, but also be willing to say that if the variance is not a good thing, if it could negatively impact residents in the area, then I would ask for you to decline the variance request. But at the same time, I recognize that, Mr. Sager has been very good to work with, and the team at Land Management Group. And so I will accept whatever the decision is of the board. So I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Representative. Really appreciate your service. All right.
Good morning. My name is Rebecca Hopkins, and I live at 5013 John Hager Road. And thank you very much for the opportunity to speak. I have lived there since 2007, and there have been multiple episodes of flooding down through the 7 houses, and we're located where that left wetland that's not going to be disturbed. We're living there, and with where we're living and the flooding that has occurred, we have serious concerns about when vegetation's removed and roads are put in and houses, what's going to happen then? Because there's been kind of a workaround that Councilman Glover at the time was able to help us with. But I have given Adam, it was a thumb drive because it was too big to try to email or anything, about a flood that was in 2011. And I have pictures of the flood in 2008. So this has been ongoing ever since I moved there. And once again, I do not know what all of the changes above us is going to do. So what my concern is, how will there be mitigation for the water that we already have not being made worse? So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here, taking time to share your perspective with us. It's pretty critical. All right, anybody else?
Hey, good morning. My name's Joseph Doyle. I live at 109 Windchase Run, Phase 3. And my concerns, we actually, in our homeowners, we have 6 homes that actually face directly in front of that. And just to reiterate what was just said, flooding is awful in that whole area. If you go to the corner of John Hager Road and South New Hope, There's been extensive work there. It is still flooding out crazy. I can tell you in our particular neighborhood, we're concerned because we are downhill from this, that again, more flooding. I do not think it's been addressed well enough in the Hermitage area, especially in the area we live. And that's my real concern with the wetlands. It will continue to be worse at this point. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for coming out. Really appreciate it.
Good morning, members. Thank you for the opportunity to
Good morning.
speak. I agree with the two speakers before me. I also submitted a letter.
Ma'am, would you mind stating your name and your address, please?
I'm so sorry.
I'll
Peyton
start your time
Robbins.
when you do that.
Yes, sir. I'm Peyton Robbins at 6084 Hager's Grove Pass.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. I submitted a letter, which I don't know. You should have a copy. I think Mr. Bowman sent it to you. Do you know if you have that?
Yes, it's on the tablets. They've got
Okay,
it.
and it's been entered in the record?
Yes.
Okay, so I guess everyone's had an opportunity to review that. I outlined several concerns here, and I live not on the side that they live on. They live down in Hager's Glen. I live in Hager's Grove Pass, which is kind of on the back side of the woods there of the wetlands that will be disturbed. And in my letter, I outline really most all concerns that I have. So I don't want to take up the time of these folks in the committee. Just to reiterate all of those things, I did identify 6 lots that appeared to be sitting on wetlands. It looks like 3, one of which I did not identify, that I believe you said that you would ask be removed. So that was kind of interesting, but I did identify 6 in total. And I had also asked about if there was any possibility of a bridge. I have seen developments where there's ecologically sensitive streams or areas where they build small bridges as opposed to disturbing the wetlands. So that's something I wanted to bring up. But as well, as it relates to Hager's Grove, my neighbors already have a lot of water. I have a lot of water. In the spring and summer, you can slosh through my backyard for days. There's water between the houses. One of my neighbors is already having to take some mitigation to take care of that. We couldn't even aerate and seed part of our yard this year. It's gotten so bad. So I think we're all concerned, as Ms. Hopkins pointed out, about what this is really going to mean and what this is really going to look like once all of this is done with concrete, houses, roads, whatever the disturbances may be. I was not aware that there was an updated plan. So I feel like I'm at a bit of a disadvantage. We have not had time to study or look at the new map where I think there was some variations. So we've not had an opportunity to look at that. I also indicated in my letter that, and I'm not an expert on this either, as Councilwoman Evans pointed out. I'm in healthcare and HR, but it seems to me that it would be prudent to do studies. This is an ecologically sensitive area that we're having these flooding problems and wetlands and rainwater. Adding to that, flash flooding, definitely a concern. But I wonder if environmental impact studies are appropriate. Am I at my time?
You're a little over your time.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
engineering studies, stormwater impact studies, if those things would be appropriate.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. We'll
Thank you
definitely
so much.
refer to your letter, and we
Yeah, it's
really
all in my
appreciate you
letter.
being here.
Absolutely, thank you.
Thank you. Come on up.
Hi, my name is George Petty, and I live at 5004 John Hager. And I know I'm on the opposite side of the road from Becky and some of the people on that side, but I'm not sure if you're aware that all of the water from the north side of South New Hope and coming down John Hager, it all comes to the same corner point, and it chokes it right there, and then it comes underneath the road to their water, and it backs up enough that we have water over all of our driveways on my side of the road because the water comes between houses, multiple points off the neighborhood that's higher than we are. So I just wanted to let you know that if you're considering this on water runoff, it all comes to the same choke point, and that hasn't been addressed, and I've lived there since 2014.
Thank you, sir. Really appreciate you being here.
My name is Larry Shelton. I live at 5033 Megan Drive. I represent the HOA of the Megan Drive housing development. Basically, we have three concerns. So far, we haven't seen a plan of where the water's going. What are they going to do with the water? Okay, I understand that you're concerned about getting past the wetlands, but the water's still going to run. And adding the roads and the homes is going to increase the force of flow because in that area. And like everybody's saying, it's all going to one place. In our particular case, we only have one home that really impacts, but it does. It unfortunately is situated right at that checkpoint he was talking about. The last flooding area there, it came up to his back porch. And any additional water during that period of time naturally would have flooded his house. So our concern is, where are you really going to divert the water to? It needs to be done. And again, we haven't seen any plan that really addresses that area. I'm sure this is not the committee to really complain about this, but the connector road going south, connecting into Megan Drive, we oppose that vehemently. That road was established, or the stub road there was established, because of the home that was built on that corner. The driveway is behind the house, so they had to put that little stub road. And that road was never designated as a stub road. It was, like I said, designed for that one homeowner. Other than that, that's all I got.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate you coming out today very much. Can't tell you all how valuable it is to have people here sharing their concerns.
Hi, good morning. My name is Brian Cheek. I live at 3518 Earhart Road. It's a little bit further away from this project. I'm going to speak to these folks' concerns about the overall development in the area. Since I've been there, this is one of the last development sites. The ones behind me, north, south, east, west, Hesse Road. I mean, everywhere has been developed. There has been no otherwise infrastructure to move this water that they're talking about. There used to be hundreds of acres of trees that's soaking up and using as drainage for all of this previously. Now it is all houses, roads, and gutters that are funneling this water. Once that water gets to the end of their development, I know that they're concerned, but that's it. They put their hands and it's over. All the people around them, that water's going somewhere. We have been the unfortunate beneficiary of one of that from a development. They put basically an outspout at the back of our property, and a good acre and a half of it is flooded most of the time because of all of the overall development and lack of drainage in the area. So thank you.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it very much. Any other members of the public like to share their comments, questions, concerns? All right, seeing none. Do we have any emails, letters, transcripts of phone calls? Need to enter in the record.
There were multiple letters sent in, some sent by mail, some sent by email. So those should all be on your tablets.
Okay, we'll encourage all our committee to refer to those letters and documentation of public feedback. So, all right. Yes, ma'am, would you like to be re-recognized? If you'd come up to the mic, I'd be glad to. If you'd just reintroduce yourself and state your...
I would like to...
Your name, please.
I'm sorry, Rebecca Hopkins, 5013 John Hager Road. I would like to provide you with a thumb drive and pictures of the 2008 flood and then the 2011. If you would let me know to whom I need to bring this, the secretary, all right? I'll be glad to do that. I just didn't pull it together this morning, but I will bring it to you so you can see evidence of what's happening.
Thank you. Since this is a preliminary, no matter what we do today, well, actually, if we vote down the preliminary, it won't come up again. If we vote for the preliminary, that information will be very pertinent, and we certainly appreciate you providing it. Did you get that, Logan? Okay. All right, any other comments, questions, concerns before we close the public hearing?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir. Mr. Mishu.
I'm not sure if the applicant reserved 2 minutes for rebuttal.
I was going to give it to him, yeah. Do I need to do that in the context of the public hearing, or does it matter?
I think you can do it at your discretion.
Okay, so I'm going to close the public hearing if that's okay, and then give the applicant a chance for a rebuttal, so. All right, thank you. So our public hearing's closed. The applicant's going to give us a brief response, and then we'll start our committee deliberation.
Thank you, Chairman. Just wanted to reiterate and respond to a couple points that were made. One, we hear the neighbors, and I hope that is evident by the fact that we have walked the property with them in the past. We are aware. We've met with Rebecca, and she did give me a thumb drive, and I have looked at it. There are some flooding issues downstream of us, and I wouldn't say flooding like we think about FEMA flooding. It's more the quick, big rainfall event coming down through here. It is kind of a unique property in that we're in the upper reaches of the basin. The drainage areas really aren't that high, and so I was surprised when she showed me that thumb drive. I'm like, yeah, wow, it gets a lot of runoff. And when we walk the property, I think it's evident that in these wetland areas, there's kind of a shallow rock layer there, and then there's a lot of nice wetland dirt on top of it. So the wetlands are created, but it doesn't soak that deep, and it all runs off fairly quickly. And I think that's what they're experiencing. And a lot of these subdivisions around us were developed years ago before the regulations are caught up to speed the way we are today. And so you kind of have an older area. But I do want to reiterate that the reason why we're here today is to discuss a wetland impact, and I'm not saying that to marginalize anything. We still have a lot of work to do to design and engineer the site to look at the flooding, the stormwater runoff. We have stormwater treatment. We have the stormwater regulations that are in effect to help treat those items, and we're going to continue to look at all of those items that were brought up. But again, if you listen to the neighborhood comments, they're all very real. We're not dismissing these, but just for the sake of organizing our thoughts on why we're here today for a wetland impact over on the right side. And we still have to address all of the items that were brought up. A couple other items that were brought up, runoff from the north side that George mentioned. That is true. It all comes from the north side, comes down to New Hope. That's a few hundred yards downstream of us, going to an existing pipe on New Hope. It doesn't even touch our site. But yeah, a lot of it goes down to a culvert down there, but that's off of our site. Where is water going? It goes downhill. I mean, we're a development just like any other. Rainwater comes down, it has to go somewhere, and we have to responsibly convey that water just like everybody else. And we're going to do that through the engineering process. So we hear all of the neighbors. We are sensitive. We have met with them. We have seen the challenges that they face. And it's really the 7 or 8 lots right there immediately downstream of us where we drain to. They have, the conveyance goes through their backyard, and it looks like a grass swale. It doesn't really look like a creek or anything. And so whenever the water comes, it kind of fills up and goes into their backyard. We can't go put a giant detention pond right upstream of them because it's the wetlands, right? I mean, but we have designated many areas throughout our site to put a bunch of little bioretention ponds, and hopefully we can over-detain and help some of that. So I think that was all the points. So I'm happy to answer any other questions.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay, so at this point, we're going to open it up for the committee to debate. I just want to make 2 or 3 quick comments. One, the applicant is correct. We're primarily here to focus on the wetland aspects of this proposal. Normally, we would also consider stream buffers and floodplain issues and things of that nature, but this particular preliminary variance proposal is focusing just on the wetlands. Second, the public has made a pretty strong case for preserving as much spongy integrity on the site as possible. So any wetlands that are removed are going to be less available for absorbing floodwater. That being said, the applicant and the public third also noted that development always creates more runoff. It just does. I visited a building in Paris, France one time that actually had dirt on the side of the building with plants growing in the dirt on the walls of the building. If you were to put water harvesting tanks on the gutters of that building and have a parking lot that was porous, that porous concrete they make, and have a green roof on top of the building, and then have trees all around the perimeter of the building with all kinds of canopy, you'd still only be doing about 60% of what a native forest like this does on this site. So you're going to have 40% more runoff, even with the best low-impact development design, the most aggressive low-impact development design. And unfortunately, public policy allows for legal flooding. So our discussion today is only focusing on a narrow piece of that. I hope what that says to everybody else is that the developers and the design firm have a civic responsibility to try to make this site as spongy as they can if they proceed, and the public has certainly the responsibility to make their concerns about the unavoidable flooding known, okay, after this process is over. Okay, all right, so just want to make that clear. All right, do we have any discussion on the proposal? Dr. Camp.
Thank you, Chair. So I have a question about how you plan to mitigate. You said you were going to over-mitigate the wetlands on the western side to kind of compensate for the impacts that will be made on the eastern side. Given that you said that there's not a lot of depth of soil above the, stone there in these wetland areas, what are you thinking as your way to improve that to kind of offset the impacts to the existing wetlands that you plan to impact?
Sure. As Chris reiterated in his letter let me pull that one up. These emergent wetlands aren't all the way there. And we are willing to go in with a plan of action in coordination with BDY and people that know more about vegetation than I do, and plant native vegetation to help bring those wetlands and bring them to fruition. And we've got a really good amount of area because we're doing a cluster lot subdivision. This is the planning term, the cluster lot subdivision. We're preserving quite a bit of open space. I think we're up around 8 acres on a 24-acre property. So we have a good amount of areas where we can go in and plant trees, plant the grasses, and kind of enhance these wetlands and probably grow them a little bit. If you notice, there's a pond up to the north of us on there. It's not classified as the wetland, but we're keeping the pond, and around the banks of the pond, we can plant it up. And again, that's why we're here as a preliminary, is to take that input and to let you guys know that we are dedicated to making the nicer emergent wetlands even better and let them grow long term. And so that would be our plan of mitigation, is to focus our efforts along that swath of property that you see on your screen there, and kind of bring out the best of those. And does that help answer it? Okay.
Yes, thank you. I was just kind of wondering about the capacity to, since there's not a lot of depth of soils, whether or not there's really capacity to
the depth
trade off.
Sure. The depth of soils, we can't avoid it. And unless you guys want us to go in there and pile thousands of yards of dirt over the wetlands, which you guys don't want us to do. They are what they are, right? And so it will be working with the landscape architect and the environmental engineers to find the right species that have hydrophytic species of vegetation that can go in there and thrive. The rock substrate that we see is really in the flowable channel. If you go out, it looks like a big meadow if you were to walk out there today, and then you get down to where the water actually flows and you can see some bedrock right there. And so as you go away from the stream, when I say shallow, still a foot, 2 foot, 3 foot, whatever it is, and there's trees on site. So it's not like there's not soil there to grow in. You're not talking about just a couple inches. And if you walk through it, it's spongy, where a vehicle or a foot or whatever goes across it, you can feel it. So there's dirt there to grow in and establish those wetlands.
Can you clarify the area of wetland that is being disturbed and then the area that is being mitigated? This plan I didn't have in my packet, Logan, I
Yeah,
don't think.
and again, I know it was mentioned by a neighbor about not seeing the plan, and I recognize that. This plan that you're seeing, nope, this is the older plan, but this
Okay.
plan that you're seeing, the new plan that we gave you was in direct response to staff comments. And so that's why it hasn't been set out, but I even brought my little red guy, just in case. So this is the wetland that we were impacting, okay? And you can see the road comes in, down off of there, and we have moved that road right over to here. We don't have a choice, like we have to cross somewhere in here, and we found this little corridor right here where it's only a stream. And the person that brought up a bridge, we do have to get an ARAP from TDEC to cross that stream. And so that will be handled during the design process. So that one right there now no longer needs the variance because we're not impacting any wetlands. So the impact is right here, where we have been required to connect this area up to this property. And so we have to find a road through here. And because this isn't really a wetland, it's not emergent, it's low resource value, and it's being fed by just a couple acres of a bioretention pond, it just made sense to go through there, impact that wetland right there of low resource value, and then focus all our efforts to make the bigger area even better. And so the impact that we're asking for is right there on that wetland, which was measured to be 0.15 acres.
0.15 acres of impact and how many acres of mitigation? I counted, just from my review of this document, 0.68 acres.
Yeah, I think
I didn't
we're
have
up
an
close
area
to
for the bottom left.
Yeah, we're up close to 0.7, 0.8, something like that. It's challenging for me to tell you the area of impact is only this. Because whenever we have a plan of mitigation, we may go into the wetland areas, and I'm going to plant a tree in that wetland area that helps mitigate that. So I don't know how you guys would want to consider that area being mitigated. But yeah, at a minimum, we're going to go around the edges. And
We're generally looking for spatial equality, not quality equality.
Okay.
Okay. So that, I think that's what he's referring to, is acre for acre, how much are you?
Oh, yeah, if we're impacting 0.15, we will find all the nooks and crannies between in that open space. And right now, on that plan, it measures to be about 0.7. So we'll be in that ballpark. I know our plan adjusted, but so will our mitigation whenever we come to you with the final plan.
So you're saying that's 4-to-1, 3-to-1? Is that roughly?
Am I going to be put on record for a final?
Well, yeah, well, you're recorded, but whether or not it has to be on accurate
as drawn, we're about
got time to work it out.
We're about 3 to 4-to-1, yeah.
And I think that's helpful information for the neighbors to understand as well, that we're actually improving the site in some regards as it relates to the mitigation compared to the impact, if that's a correct statement.
I think that's a very correct statement, yeah. Yeah, it's, 21% more.
The area impact is 21% of the total.
Okay, of the total, okay. And how much is the mitigation more than what we have now? Okay, all right, so we will come back with math on that.
Chair, may I ask a
Yes,
question?
yeah, please.
And hopefully, and just help me out, because I'm like the community as well, with my level of knowledge. So the wetland that we're discussing, currently, how is it, and if I'm reading the documentation from BDY, it is really not providing any value at the moment. Is that correct?
That's correct. If you were to walk out, if I can try to help you visualize what it looks like.
Please, that would be great.
There are pictures. If you want to cycle through the pictures that we provided, we went out and took pictures. Yeah, can you go back a couple? I don't know, Steve, are you operating that, or whoever is? It's not that. There you go. All right, so this right here is a more high-quality wetland. It's a little difficult to see on your screen. This is over on the western part. This is what we're not disturbing. It's the one that we asked for at first, and now we've found a way to go across it. And you can see that there's actual water there, and you can see kind of it's a flat area, and you can see the grasses and things like that. And now if you go ahead to a couple pictures, yeah, that one there. So this is the one that we are impacting. If you were to walk out there, a normal person does not have any idea that that's a wetland. It's just, it looks exactly like that. You're going to walk, you're crunching on leaves and all of that. But when BDY goes out, they're smarter than me, and they find these wetlands by testing the dirt and the vegetation and all of these things, and then they score it. And when they scored it, this scored to be a very low wetland. It was, yeah, it's close, and it apparently is because it's being fed by this bioretention pond, just kind of was created. And so if you go out there, that's what it looks like. Yeah.
Yeah, Ms. Stokes.
Can you speak to, so in staff comments, I appreciate you went back and you removed this wetland disturbance, but there was a request, I think, for 3 lots to be considered for removal. I think 12, 14, 16. Was that evaluated? And
Yeah, those lots were clipping the buffer, and we were able to pull all lots, all roads, everything completely out of wetlands, streams, buffers, all of it. So we don't have any portion of lots,
Except
lots
for
of
the
roads,
ones you're
except for
classifying as
the one crossing over a stream crossing,
Lot
and then
42.
the impact that we're asking for.
Okay.
So I guess that would address the letter that we got from Ms. Robbins, and she said 6. I'm just, right? Okay. And I think a few of them were within the numbers that staff had recommended as well, 12 and 14, if I'm correct. Okay.
Okay, so just to remind everybody what we're doing, this is a preliminary consideration of approval. So our role is typically to give enough guidance to the applicant without being their designer and consultant to help them understand either how this might meet expectations for the approval of a variance or how it never will. And so that they don't go forward with an approval and then come back and get turned down after investing a lot more money and time in it. So they should have a pretty good idea of that we're leaning in the direction of an approval if we lean that way, and what they need to do to make it better when they come back for final approval. If not, then they need to have a clear and certain understanding of why it just wouldn't work at this time, so that they don't invest more time and energy and money into this proposal. So now I'll just state kind of one concern I've got. It really would have been better to have BDY here today. I just want future applicants, please don't come to a preliminary without your experts, because we need, particularly when you're impacting a biological resource like this. Second, I do appreciate the letter being provided. That was really helpful. The issue of what's described as a low resource quality wetland, I often have a problem with, because like you just said, wetlands are a lot like Antiques Roadshow. The stuff we find in our attic is junk until somebody says it's worth $300,000, right? So I mean, if you know it's valuable, it doesn't matter who doesn't know it, it's valuable, right? Until you find out it's valuable. So it's a good thing that we know that these resources are important. I'd be inclined to concur that a low resource wetland is one that's fed by some kind of artificial human activity out there. We've been a little more inclined to mitigate human-created wetlands and human-influenced wetlands. So another example of a human-influenced wetland would be a road ditch along an interstate highway that had too flat of a grade that started behaving like a wetland, So, and those sometimes are jurisdictional. It happens. But we've been a little more inclined to mitigate unnatural wetlands as opposed to natural ones. So it really comes down to whether or not we feel like we've done everything we can to optimize the sponginess of the natural infrastructure of the site, the wetlands. So, all right. So what do y'all think? Preliminarily.
Preliminarily, I could see myself approving, but I would need to really understand the mitigation quite a bit more. So I kind of echo the suggestion to come with a subject matter specialist next time. I think that would have kind of helped the conversation, because that's my biggest sticking point right now.
Okay.
So the council representative that was here earlier, she's left, hasn't she? Is she still here? Are you satisfied that there's been enough? Well, let me state it like this. Let me give you all the facts before I ask you how you feel about it. If there's enough votes to approve it preliminarily, it'll start a clock that's a little bit faster than a deferral. So are you satisfied that there's been enough conversation with the community about how to optimize the protection of these wetlands? That's really the only question we've got before us today. If you're not, we could ask the applicant to consider a deferral to have more time. They could come back for a new preliminary proposal with a BDY expert present, and then we could go from there.
I would say, as far as optimization, this is really the first that I'm hearing about it, and the residents that are here are hearing about it. And so I would say, no, I don't feel like there's probably enough information necessarily. So I don't know what that conversation will look like, if it's a community meeting, that kind of thing, because this is the first time I've ever had a variance come through your committee. And then also what that looks like if you were to approve it and it's going to come back, as part of that final, approval process, what the timeline looks like for that and that kind of thing. I think that if there's opportunity for the community to weigh in more, it'd be a good time to do it now instead of maybe information not being clear and information or misunderstandings about the process festering a little bit more. I don't want it to end up being the next time, if they were to come back through, it being a bigger deal because I don't have the engineering background to be able to explain it and would really need their support to have that educational component again. So I hope that answers your question.
Okay, it does. Thank you. Mm-hmm. All right. So we're coming up on a busy holiday season. The most deferral we can give you is 30 days. Do you want to consider deferring to engage the community a little bit more with BDY to explain the wetlands issues that you're trying to mitigate here and manage? And we can choose to defer it as a committee decision.
Yeah, I guess I would say this. I understand what's being said, and just want to reiterate that we are coming to you with a preliminary. If we had come to you with a final, totally understand, and let's have more conversation. Maybe there's not enough there. But because we are a preliminary, our hope today was to get, like you said, an indication and to present to you the project, take on feedback, implement that into the plan. And on purpose, we didn't provide a super detailed mitigation plan because we want to hear what you have to say about mitigation and how you feel about it so that we can take that information and then implement it into a final plan. We'd be happy to meet with community. We will continue to do so. Obviously, everybody that sits in the seat, we don't want to get a vote of no, right? And so I'm not going to sit here and say, no, there's no ultimatum here. But at the same time, I was wondering, is it not possible to consider this as a preliminary, obtain all the community feedback that would allow us to continue in the process rather than just put it on hold and defer it? Because we still have to come back to you with the final. We still have to come back to you at a public hearing with the final. There's still more work to do. And so our hope today is to just get how the board is leaning so that we can continue on with the process and continue to meet and design and do those things.
So yeah, I asked that question because I'm also thinking of your interest. If there are enough votes to approve it today preliminarily, you'd be taking on a lot more risk to ensure that the extra time and effort you put into it was really going to pay off. because there's obviously some things that we haven't heard that we needed to hear today, and there's obviously some things the community hasn't heard that they need to hear. So if we approve it, you're accepting more risk that you may not get a return on your investment of time and energy from this point forward. If we defer it, we might save you some pain and effort and risk. But, you know, we're adults. We'll do whatever we think works for everybody. So what's the committee's leaning? You've heard his leaning, so.
I will say that I appreciate that, you've already reworked the design once to try to mitigate the impacts of the wetlands, even at this stage. And so I think you are trying to be proactive, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate that you are, having the conversations with the community members. I think there's a disconnect between some of the concerns of the community members on the flooding in the area that's not necessarily totally your responsibility, and the mitigation or impacts to the wetlands that you would be doing is not going to remedy the flooding that's already happening there. So I will say that I, preliminarily feel like you are moving in a positive direction towards addressing some of the concerns with the sites. And I appreciate that you're here on this preliminary basis to get feedback and input.
I see a lot of nodding heads. All right. When there's a lot of nodding heads, that's a right moment for a motion.
Yeah, I think the main thing I'm hearing is, right now, there is no development there, and you're already having flooding issues, and the homes are already being inundated with water during flash floods and runoff. And I think that if you have scientific information that this problem will not get worse because of this development, and if anything will get better, that's what the public wants to hear. Is what I'm
That's
hearing.
a great point. Yeah. See a lot of head nodding out there, too. Okay, so where are we, folks? We're getting paid big bucks, so just might as well stay here every minute longer we want to, right? Oh, that's not quite true, is it?
Okay, I'll make a motion to
Yes, sir. Yes,
preliminarily
sir. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make light of that.
approve. I think we provided some input. I would add, I think it's the applicant's job to bring the plan for us to comment. We're not going to tell you what to do. I mean, we certainly have general thoughts and concepts, so we'd like to see that plan, but that would be my motion to preliminarily. On the revised plan, yeah.
Okay, so we have a motion to give preliminary approval to the revised plan with the conditions that the applicant come back with more information. The more the better. Engage the community more thoroughly. It doesn't guarantee that we'll approve the final variance. You are taking on a little extra risk in doing that. We'll review it with all the information with more public feedback if it gets approved today. All right, do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? All right, motion passes. So.
Thank you.
So I want to encourage the members of the public to stay engaged in the process. This is not the end of this decision. We really do appreciate you coming out today.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. But important to recognize it's preliminary.
Okay, does anybody need a break, bathroom break of any kind? Keep going?
I'm running the restroom real quick.
Okay, let's take a 5-minute bathroom break, and we'll resume. Case is Century Farms Development, Parcel 12, 0 Cane Ridge Parkway, 2021-00017. So y'all know the routine now. Mr. Cundiff, I don't think you were here for the legal statement earlier, so we'll read that for you. So you know your rights.
Chairman, I need to recuse myself in this case.
All right, so we have Ms. Carrie Stokes is going to recuse herself. We still have a quorum, and so we will proceed. So we're going to go through the normal routine. Staff's going to read an introduction, share your rights. We'll give you 10 minutes for your presentation. Open up for public comment, close public comment, start the committee review. That makes sense? All right.
The opening statement to the applicant. If you are not satisfied with the decision made by the Stormwater Management Committee, you may appeal the decision by filing for a writ of certiorari with the Davidson County Chancery or Circuit Court. Your appeal must be filed within 60 days of the date of the committee's decision. You are advised to seek the independent advice of legal counsel to ensure that your appeal is filed in a timely manner and that all procedural requirements have been satisfied. Case number 3 on the agenda is case 2021-00017, Century Farms Development, Parcel 12, at 0 Cane Ridge Parkway. APN is 174-000-26500. Inspector is Sean Herman. Council District 32, Joy Stiles. Applicant's request, disturbance of wetland buffers and wetland removal. Appellant is Century Farms, LLC, represented by Michael Pigg, Barge Design Solutions. Comments, Stormwater staff. It is staff's opinion that the site be redesigned to better utilize the resource in its natural state or to limit the resource's disturbance. If approved, staff requests that more mitigation in the form of plantings and/or additional water quality measures are provided. Codes, no comment provided. Planning, this property is zoned specific plan and will require a final site plan application to be submitted and reviewed for consistency with the plan associated with SP zoning. Greenways had no comment provided.
Okay, so at this time, we'll ask the applicant to introduce themselves, introduce the people at the table with them so we know all the expertise that are here with you. We'll give you 10 minutes. I will acknowledge that I know Mr. Cundiff. He used to be a graduate student of mine, but I could not be biased about grading him in those days, and I won't be biased today either. So, and as one previous chairman told me one time when he was here before, me knowing him didn't apparently help him very much that particular day. So, so anyway, so no guarantees, Mr. Cundiff. So, all right, please proceed.
Understood. Again, my name's Jeff Cundiff. I'm with Barge Design Solutions here today representing Century Farms LLC. And we have Sarah Samaray with us with BDY Associates here as our environmental consultant. So this project that you're looking at is part of the overall Century Farms development. It is located in our office concentration subdistrict. You know, this site is intended to fulfill, a real office space need in southeast Nashville, and it's currently zoned for 8-story buildings. The site is bisected by a large TVA transmission line, and we have some constraints with other wetlands that we've previously protected right there at the intersection of Cane Ridge Parkway, and we're bound by the interstate to the northeast. I'd like to let Sarah kind of speak on the resource that we're here today to talk about.
And first of all, I'd like to apologize. I was not familiar with the John Hager wetlands, otherwise I would have spoken up, but I am familiar with these. I've assisted with some of the environmental assessments and with applications for this project. And this wetland, okay, very good. It's in historically agriculturally impacted valley. The top of the wetland is an excavated farm pond. The berm around the farm pond has become compromised, so you basically have a smear of water coming out through the pond. And then you can see on the aerial image, there's a farm road that further impounds, so that would be the northern boundary of the wetland. And so any precipitation coming down the hillside from Old Franklin Road south, in between that farm road, becomes impounded by this wetland. The original farm pond was excavated in uplands. This wetland lies atop the Stiversville silt loam, which does not possess any hydric components. It's an upland soil. And there's also another farm road. You can see a drive that goes north from one of the properties on Old Franklin Road, it has a farm road that goes through the middle of that wetland as well. It measures 0.28 acres, and it is dominated by invasive species, one being Microgysium, Japanese stiltgrass, and amaranth, and it also has some green ash and blackberry growing in it. So it is also considered a low resource value wetland, and portions of it remain wet and other portions of it remain dry throughout the year.
Thank you. I'd like to respond to the two staff comments that we received, provide some perspective on those. The first comment was to look at potential redesigns for our site. We did study that. We looked at this, and this wetland, I don't know, can you flip over to the one that's got the topo and the TVA line shown? It shows kind of the limits of it. Yeah, it's probably back up earlier in this middle. But this 2.8 acre wetland is actually going to be located about 25 feet below where the development around it is going to occur. So it's essentially going to be down in a hole. And in order to, if we were going to try to maintain that wetland and grade down to it, it would end up impacting our site area by about 2.6 acres. And in addition to that, because of where it's located, it really hinders the development potential of the property between Cambridge Parkway there and Old Franklin Road. I mean, it could pretty much eat up about 5.5 acres of developable property to try to save this 0.28 acre wetland. And the other thing that complicates it a little is it's located wholly within this TVA easement. TVA requires us to maintain an access drive through their easement. And so we would have to construct one of those in any case, whether it's, with our development or if we tried to save, a portion of this wetland. So we would need to impact the wetland anyways. And then we'd also have this probably 250 to 400 length of slope road going down to it and back up. So it'd be a very significant impact to the overall site to try to preserve this wetland just due to the location of it. And then we also received a comment with respect to additional mitigation. So I just wanted to kind of point out that we did purchase, 0.67 mitigation credits, and we've got, also an additional 0.92 acres of restoration and buffer enhancements along this existing creek that we're proposing to further mitigate this. So this totals about 1.6 acres of restoration for a 2.8 acre impact, which is roughly 5, 6 times what the resource is that we're losing. So what we'd like to do today is ask for your recommendation here, and we're seeking approval to impact this wetland on this parcel and the associated buffer around it. So anything else you want to add? No. All right, thank you. We're happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Cundiff. And appreciate you having your resource specialist here with you. That's really, really helpful. Any members of the public here to speak in favor or against the current proposal? All right, seeing none. Do we have any letters, emails, transcripts, phone calls?
There was a letter from the Mill Creek Watershed Association, which is printed copy, should be available to you.
Okay, so everybody should have a copy of that. It's got their letterhead on it. Do you all want to, is there any other written communication on?
No, that's the only thing we got.
Mr. Cundiff, have you seen their letter?
I have not, but
can somebody provide Mr. Cundiff a copy? And we'll give you a chance to, here, I'll give you all a copy of mine too. So we'll give you a chance to respond to those comments as a rebuttal. Thank you, sir. And So at this time, I'll close the public hearing, and then we'll wait for Mr. Cundiff's response. Staff, can you all give us your sort of off-the-cuff perspective about the mitigation proposed here? I should have asked this in the previous case too, but do we have Corps Engineer or state permits in hand as well in the checklist? You know, I think that's one of the requirements.
They're applied for,
Okay.
but I want to defer back to the applicant on why they are not here.
Okay, okay.
I think they have a good explanation for it.
Okay, okay. All right, so if you want to respond to the letter, if you have a response, and then secondly, if you could respond to staff's comment about the status of your Corps and state permits.
We have no comments with respect to the letter received, and Sarah, I'll let you speak to the permit.
We have applied for Corps and state permits. Our TDEC application has been marked complete, and we've addressed the viewers, the permit writers' comments regarding that. Our Corps application, we did receive a request for additional information, and we have addressed those questions that the Corps reviewer had. And that permit application is complete. Right now, as you probably know, the Corps has suspended review of their permit applications due to the Trump rule being vacated and how they are handling ephemeral streams and nationwide permits as it relates to the 401 certification for the state. So we do anticipate that they will begin issuing those permits very soon, but as of right now, there's a pause. Our application can still be reviewed. The reviewer could ask more information of us, but we have not been asked to provide more information at this time.
But you are proposing on-site mitigation, is that right?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
We are proposing compensatory mitigation, which is the Corps' preference. And so upon issuance of the permit, we will purchase wetland mitigation credits from the Tennessee Mitigation Fund.
Okay.
And I just want to add to that. I mean, when we submitted our application, we anticipated having these permits in hand. And, you know, due to this hardship, we felt the need to go ahead and come before you guys. And, you know, if that is something that is an issue, we'd be more than happy to accept that as a condition of approval for sure. So,
okay. I'm not going to go into my hardship discussion again. Okay, so I'll explain that offline sometime. So after the debate and decisions made, so it'll be properly discussed. Let me just make sure I understand this. Sometimes just being redundant is helpful. The only wetlands we're talking about here are what we consider to be farm pond constructed wetlands. They're not natural.
Yes, that's right, because they are excavated on upland soils, and most of the hydrology comes from that old farm pond, and with the road further impounding it, there's just nowhere for the water to go. So they are artificially created.
Okay. Okay, all right. Everybody know where we are? Staff, do you got any comments about the federal compensatory mitigation preference?
Well, I did want to point out that we've always asked for that they provide, not they, meaning this particular applicant, but every applicant, that we understand that you always have to do a purchase off-site. Our intent was to always require mitigation on-site. So while there is a requirement for them to provide mitigation through other agencies, that's great. Most of those mitigations are not in our jurisdiction, and that's why traditionally we've always asked for equal or greater mitigation at the actual site itself.
So you've got a variety of options, low impact development design. Are you all What can you tell us to address that point?
Yeah, I just want to clarify that we are providing additional mitigation on site as part of our proposal. The additional, I think it's 0.92 acres buffer enhancement and plantings, that was not required as part of our core or state permitting process. That was to address Steve's comment.
Did I see that in the southeast corner of the lot? Is that what those green circles represent, Mr. Hunt? Yeah, reforestation area approximately 0.55 acres, trees spaced 20 feet apart.
There's two sections. There's another one just to the
On the
northwest
west.
of the roundabout as
Okay,
well.
all right. Okay. Do you all consider that to be adequate on-site?
I do not believe we did. This was like Rebecca's comments, and unless Michael knows any different, I believe that we were thinking that we were hoping for more mitigation on site.
Okay. All right, what else can you do?
I mean, there may be an opportunity to do a little bit more plantings, along that creek, but I don't know really what else.
Are there, are you planning to do any kind of pervious paving or bioretention within some of the landscape medians?
No, these are all constructed roads, yeah. So, and then you'd have individual.
So you're not going to have any tree-lined areas?
No, not really. Not on this site.
What is the total acreage of this site, of the development, not this parcel, of the Century Farms development?
It's roughly 300 acres.
And on that acreage, there is no other opportunity on 300 acres?
So on this particular parcel, there's not, just given the topography of it. However, there is a wetland nearby on Old Franklin Road, which I think we could probably discuss enhancing the buffer for that.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. It's currently protected, but we can create further enhancements, perhaps enlarge. That's something that we can work through.
To Mr. Mishu's point, the credits go to areas outside of this community, and I would like to make every effort to have mitigation happen on site, especially on a 300-acre site.
Yes, I think we can, we do have a lot of room on the site to work with, so I think we can work with the other wetland, which is located just west of this one.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Hunt, can you pull up the development plan again? So are all the riparian buffers being preserved?
No, I'm not following.
I'm sorry, I'm missing this point. I see a buffer running through the site. Is the applicant also proposing a buffer disturbance or just a wetland disturbance? Am I looking at that wrong?
The impact that we're speaking of today is the wetland impact and the buffer to the wetland. There was a previous application years ago that covered a downstream conveyance and buffer.
Was that approved?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there is some information on your tablet about that previous variance.
Okay.
Showing a map of what exactly the committee had approved.
What year was that?
2018.
In 2018.
And Dot, at that time, we were unaware of this wetland.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. All right. So can you put numbers to is it Sarah? What's your last name, Sarah?
Sarah Samaray.
Samaray, Ms. Samaray. Can you put numbers to that additional mitigation that we could use in a motion today, or do y'all want to come back and do that some other time? I mean, a deferral is one option, or we can, well, let me, in the future, I want to try to put less variability of technical details on staff and try to work them out here if they can be worked out here. So, so I'm trying to, Mr. Hunt, I'm trying to be mindful of that request, so. All right, enough said, right? So,
would it be enough to agree to enhance the buffer that is regulated for that wetland?
Possibly.
We just don't have that acreage in front of us.
Yeah.
I mean,
We're going to need something numeric.
Okay, because we've got the almost 1 acre already.
Is a deferral going to hurt you?
And then, I mean, it wouldn't be our preference, but we would accept that versus, you know.
Okay.
But, so I would say, so if we're at 0.9 now, if we were, and I think our buffer impact is 0.6, is that correct? Then if we were to double that and get to, 1.2 total, would that?
Staff's raising the objection, so I'd have to ask for clarity on a number.
I think you're suggesting that we say something is okay that we don't have presented before us to have educated.
Yes, I am.
Right, and I would just add to that I think we would want to see what the proposal is. I would go back to
That's what I'm
staff
getting at.
comments in that I think the issue on the submittal was twofold. One, it was that the development seemed to be placed irrespective of the wetland. It was just put where it was to go without any consideration of that, plus the fact that the only mitigation credits were the state and local. And as Mr. Mishu elaborated on, traditionally we have asked and directed variance applicants to provide local offset as well.
Okay.
So those were the two elements.
So you've got, I think, you got better background on why there's a desire. It's not just precedent, but it's also, avoidance is usually our first preference. That's been a standard with the Corps for a long time, for example. So it sounds like y'all just need to come back with some more detail. So, oh, certainly, yeah. That'd be the better way to do it.
Yeah, I do want to clarify a comment that was made. We are providing on-site mitigation that was not required by the state or the federal government.
Yeah,
So
we agree, it's just
Okay.
not enough. That's where
right,
we're at.
and I think we're in a position to where we're willing to accept double our impact of on-site mitigation.
So if we, yes, sir, go ahead.
Would that negate the necessity to purchase credits? It would not.
No, it would not.
This would be above and beyond.
I think staff's primary concern is that they just want to know where it's going to go, what it's going to look like. Typically, mitigation is thoroughly vetted. It's not just we're going to do double.
As the great Michael Hunt would say, we were always looking for greater
certainty,
equal or greater mitigation.
Yeah.
Within our jurisdiction.
Okay. So, do y'all want to ask for a referral, or do you want us to just make a motion? I just will say, all decisions made in haste are eventually regretted, so. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, or the other thing would be is if there could be a condition placed on a number that we have to meet in order to satisfy the committee, I think, and we can work.
I can promise coming back will be very painless if you work it out with staff before you get here. So, yeah, okay.
We accept.
All right. You're accepting what?
The deferral.
Okay, that's what I thought,
So,
just
yes,
making
just
sure.
clarify. Yes.
Okay, so I move that we defer. Is there a second? All right, we have a second. All right, any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right.
Thank you.
Passes.
We appreciate that. Thank you.
Appreciate that. We have a routine habit of the more prepared you come, the less painless it is, so.
Yeah. Important to read this Mill Creek letter too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
I know that was just presented to us today, so.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, being thorough makes things move faster, so, okay. All right, so that is all of our cases today. We've got some, a smattering of business we need to take care of. The first item of business is, how about we congratulate our new vice chair? Welcome her back, all right. And so we have a new committee member, Dr. Janie Camp from Vanderbilt University. She's a civil engineer and is well-versed in all things water from an engineering perspective. Very excited to have her with us. She also serves on the mayor's, what is that called now? The Green Sustainability Advisory Committee. We've had like 4 different names for that and 4 different mayors. So she serves on that. So she comes to us with a great deal of research expertise and practical expertise and public service experience. So welcome. All right. So secondly, we have an update on the proposed training session. We're calling it Stormwater 101. Even though we're all always eager to go back and be freshmen.
We would like to do something really nice. It will involve maybe mitigation, maybe a little bit of legal aspects. I think we were hoping to have all committee members back on appointment before we have a presentation.
All right. So that means we have at least one outstanding mayoral appointment, Metro
yes.
Council vetted, approved person left.
We are awaiting one additional member. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So we'll have the training when we get the additional member. Okay. Anna rolled off.
Anna has been, Ms. Camp has been appointed in her spot.
Oh, that's Anna's spot. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And Roy Dale's spot is still out.
That's what was confusing me because Roy normally sits there. I want to apologize. You're having to sit in Roy's chair. That comes with enormous history, so. and a quite bit of flair as well. So
both appointments.
We'll expect you to wear bright green shirts occasionally. So.
Mr. Chair,
bright green.
It was October 31st where both of them have expired.
Sorry. I just think we'll have fun occasionally here. Okay, so does that take care of all of that conversation, Mr. Hunt?
Mr. Chairman, I would just offer, if the committee would like us, we in the past have worked with MTAS, the Municipal Technical Advisory Service, on general board functioning, municipal board functioning. I think we could arrange for an in-house training session. That would have to be arranged, obviously, but they cover the general operating procedures of municipal boards and some subtleties that sometimes aren't so evident. So if that is something the committee would like for us to arrange, we'd certainly entertain that.
Yeah, more the merrier. So that's a great segue for the next item and the last item, and that is last month, I feel a certain responsibility to manage these meetings as well as possible for you all. Your time's valuable. And we've had some difficult meetings the last few months. And so, just like in spousal relations, a check-in is always a good idea when you're in close quarters with your fellow human beings. And so I asked staff and legal to meet with me last month, and we had about an hour and a half or so, 2 hours or so discussion. We reviewed, just briefly in a legally appropriate way with legal counsel present, some past administrative and operational procedures. And we want to come back to you with some suggestions for ways that we think we can improve the process, primarily for the applicants, but certainly for the committee. And one of the ideas that I proposed that staff seemed to like is that we develop together sort of a checklist that we as committee members can refer to in front of us that might help us evaluate different circumstances that are being presented to us, and how we get some best practices of responses to those proposals in front of us. Perhaps even that might help us with a certain amount of consistency. I know we're not always worried about precedent because this is a case-by-case situation, but we are concerned about providing reasonable expectations to applicants so that they know what to come prepared with to make the best possible case, and maybe to choose not to come here, more importantly. Because, a mentor of mine once said that, a variance or an appeal is actually a little bit indicative of a failure of the system to work without the appeal or without the variance. There are other processes set up routinely that help people comply with existing guidelines, and when they have to come back and ask for a change, you're just opening up all kinds of opportunities for people to feel like somebody got something that they should have got, or whatever perspective. So we want to just make sure we're handling that as cleanly and as effectively as possible. One of the things we also talked about was trying to make the concept of hardship clearer within the applicant's understanding, and maybe revisiting the applicant checklist. But as you heard today, even though we have a very explicit checkbox item on the checklist that you have all your federal and state permits before you show up here, there are going to be circumstances where they either don't understand it or can't. So, or just choose not to, and are hoping maybe that it won't come up. So, but hopefully we're going to fix that. So the other thing that we want to try to do is that we have existing guidelines for mitigation, for potential mitigation criteria in our current policy documents and technical guidebooks. But we don't really have a formal policy for a proper ratio, and so what we want to try to do is to try to come up with what I think is going to eventually potentially need to be a committee position on what we feel like is a minimum floor of mitigation. We want to try to maintain a certain amount of flexibility to deal with unique ecological conditions and also unique sites where on-site mitigation is not possible, or where compensatory mitigation can be used. But it sounds like applicants are having a hard time understanding what to present to us, and that's the ultimate goal, is to give them greater clarity on what to offer us as mitigation, so that we don't have to do as much customized design in an active hearing. So do all those things sound like we're going in the right direction to help us do a better, cleaner, more efficient job? Okay.
I think it's very necessary. And to your point, are there any sister cities or any other municipalities that could provide some lesson learned format or guideline to which we should operate in a smart growth kind of mentality? Let's learn the lessons of what Austin went through. Let's learn the lessons of what Charlotte's going through. Let's learn the lessons of some of these high growth areas, similar to like what the airport does, and our other municipal boards where they get that type of feedback.
Yes, I've and Dr. Camp might be willing to share some of her students' work as well, but I've asked some of my students to research this for us, and so we're going to be drawing from those case examples. Okay, all right, great, sounds great. All right, so that's the legacy I would like to leave one day when I get too old to do this. It's just an easier way to do this job. So, all right, anything else? Anybody? Madam Counsel, do you want, Ms. Costones, you want to say anything? Any staff want to say anything about anything I just said? Are we good? Okay. All right. Everybody looks.
I would like to bring up, Mr. Chairman, that I feel that Metro Water has great regulations and great staff to enforce regulations, and I believe we have a great committee as well.
Thank you.
So if we're going to look at other jurisdictions to see process improvements, I think we're going to have to search pretty hard because I think you guys do a very, very well job as well.
Well, the New York Times thinks so, 'cause they, at least in terms of flood policy, they bragged on Nashville quite a bit, yeah.
Well said,
And
Mr. Rishi.
That's right, that's right. I think the New York Times said Humphreys County, look at Davidson County, so, right. Okay, anything else? All right. We appreciate you all being here and your service, and particularly our professional staff. Man, we just can't do it without the experts. All right, motion to adjourn? All right, so moved by our new vice chairman, permanent vice chairman. Is there a second? All right, motion been made, probably second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, we're adjourned.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.